Assalamu alaikum dear students. Welcome to the course of International Relations for undergraduate classes conducted by ComState Institute of Information Technology, Virtual Campus Islamabad. Before we go to the unit, let's have a review of our previous lecture. Previous lecture में हमने national power और उसके elements define किए थे. And in these elements of national power, we discussed population, we discussed technology, we discussed geography, and then we fully explained what we mean by other element as well. So far we have reached to diplomacy. In these elements of national power, we have discussed how geography can be a source of national power. उसमें किसी भी कंट्री या स्टेट का जो एरिया है वो बड़ा इम्पॉर्टेंट है. उसी के साथ लोकेशन ऑफ द स्टेट ऑन द वर्ल्ड मैप इज़ आल्सो वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट फैक्टर. इफ द एरिया ऑफ अ स्टेट इज़ लेस, it can be very risky to the foreign attacks because it can be easily conquered. इसी के साथ, if the state is small, the resources are less and it cannot sustain a larger population. इसी वजह से जो European states there, because they were very small and therefore they were compelled to go outside the Europe and enslave other states. और इसी तरह वो फिर बरसगीर आ गए, एशिया आ गए, अफ्रीका आ गए और उन्होंने मुख्तलिफ स्टेट्स को अपनी कॉलोनीज बना दिया because they were trying to have more land. And when the state increased their size and their area, it gave them more power. So the larger the area, the more the national power, because there are many resources. Along with this, the location of the state is also important. If the temperature is good, if it is mild, if there is plenty of rainfall, and if the natural resources are available, I'm talking about those states which are lying in the temperate zone, so it is also a source of national power. इसी के बाद हमने national character और morale को discuss किया कि how national character and morale is a source of national power. By national character, we mean how much are the people of the state supporting their government, not only in the internal affairs but also in the external affairs. तो अगर किसी गवर्नमेंट को अपने लोगों से हेल्प मिल रही हो, उनको सपोर्ट मिल रही हो, उनको उनका ताउन हासिल हो, so remember that state is very powerful. इसके एग्जांपल्स हम यूरोपियन स्टेट ले सकते हैं because the people of Europe and the European states, they were very cooperative and they fully supported their governments, whatever were the governments, but they enjoyed the full support of their people. Beside, the people have a high discipline and tolerance level, and they were fully involved in the affairs of their government and supporting them. So this made the European nations very powerful. इसी के साथ economic development is also a very important instrument of national power. If the country is economically developed, it has more productions, it has a trained manpower. Remember, the resources are utilized very to the full extent, and because of the resources fully utilized and the trained manpower, the country has more economic development, it has more foreign reserves, it has more financial resources to withstand large army and also to meet the requirement of its people. As a result, the state becomes very much powerful and contribute to the national power of that element. The example of again the European countries are before us that have economic development because of their full utilization of resources, and as a result they were very strong. इसी के साथ हमने leadership discuss किया कि leadership is what gives direction to the organization, or in a state it is what gives the whole direction to the nations and give them and take them in the rightful direction. Remember, without a leader, an organization or a state would ultimately lead to failure. The quality of leader is also very important. He should be having a sense of courage. He should be bold. He can take good decision. He should have a high degree of intellectual capacity, wisdom, integrity, and by these characters, he will integrate his people. He will unite their energy and will take them safely towards the goals, towards the targets. So leadership is again very important. And we discuss some of the important leaders like Jinnah, leaders like Stalin, Wilson, Roosevelt, Churchill, who take their nations out of crisis, and their leadership provides strength to their governments, and as a result they came victorious. After this, we discuss diplomacy, and according to Marginto, diplomacy is the brain of national power. If a country has good diplomatic staff, if it can negotiate on a very well-mannered with other states, remember, it can win friends, it can win international support, and therefore can easily help the state achieve its national interest. So diplomacy is another element of national power. This was the review of our previous lecture. Let us move forward towards our unit and let's understand about more elements of national power. The eighth element of national power is ideology. We have already discussed what is ideology. So can you recall what is ideology? Yes, it's a set of ideas held by a group of people, and it also gives a line of action. It sets target and also gives line of action how those goals can be achieved. The targets may be related to social aspects, it could be related to economic targets, it could be related to some other political objectives and targets. So ideology is basically the belief set of ideas held by a group of people that takes them safely towards their targets and also give them the directions how those targets can be achieved. ये तो एक आसान लफ्ज़ों में मैंने आपको बता दिया. Let's again have a review of what Padelford and Lincoln says about ideology. According to these two authors, ideology is a body of ideas concerning economic, social and political values and goals which pose action program for attaining these goals. So वही बात कि आइडियालॉजी सेट ऑफ आइडियाज़ हैं, नज़रियात हैं जिसमें एक गोल्स या मुख्तलिफ गोल्स मुतय्यन किए जाते हैं और ग्रुप्स और द ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल they are motivated, they are encouraged to achieve those goals by giving them the line of action and the direction to achieve these goals. Remember, ideology, as I have already explained in the previous unit, that they helped in achieving the people unity, and the time when the ideology created or the ideology arises is when the people are suffering, when the people are in crisis. Ideologies उस वक्त बनते हैं जब लोग तकलीफ में होते हैं, जब वो क्राइसिस में होते हैं, जब उनकी राइट्स उनको नहीं मिल रहे होते, when they are neglected, when they are deprived, when they are oppressed. So in this kind of situation, when the people are suffering, so they get united and then they set some targets, or basically it is the help of the leader who has got this higher wisdom to give them targets. वो उनको बताता है कि उनका निजात कहाँ पे है, उनके निजात का ज़रिया क्या है, उनके टारगेट्स क्या हैं, और फिर वही लीडर उन सारे लोगों को इकट्ठा करता है अपनी उस आइडियोलॉजी को अचीव करने के लिए. And then all the people with their leader struggle, strive and try to achieve their targets. So ideology acts as a motivating force for a nation. It integrates them to strive collectively for the common cause. So because ideology has this integrating force, क्योंकि ये लोगों को इकट्ठा करता है. कौन से लोगों को? उन लोगों को जो कि डिप्राइव्ड हैं, जो कि तकलीफ में हैं. तो ऐसे ग्रुप्स जिनमें ये qadre mushtarak हों कि they are suffering, they have something in common, and the something common is that frustration, that sense of deprivation, that feeling of being tortured, and therefore these groups are combined together by ideology, and then they moved to get their targets which are set by ideology. The targets can be economic, it can be political, it can be social, or it can be the mix-up of these three as well. Common ideology provides support to the government both nationally and internationally. So if there are states that share the same ideology, remember they can make alliances, they can form stronger groups. That's how ideology gave them strength. अगर किसी country में ideology नहीं है, remember the people are disintegrated, the people are disunited, and therefore it is easily available for the conqueror to control them, to conquer such states. But if the people have strong ideology, they are one body, they are fully consolidated, it's very difficult to control them, and it's very difficult to disintegrate them. तो लिहाजा ideology is a source of power, and all the states, if they share same ideology, so they will be helping each other, they will be cooperating with each other on international level, giving the states more power. For example, we can take the situation after World War II. The states that have the same kind of ideology, for example, वो रियासतें जहाँ पे सोशलिस्टिक गवर्नमेंट्स थी, जहाँ पे कम्युनिस्टिक गवर्नमेंट्स थी, जिस तरह रशिया है और साथ में ईस्टर्न यूरोप के ममालिक हैं, जिसमें चेक रिपब्लिक है, जिसमें रोमानिया है, जिसमें बल्गारिया है, जिसमें यूगोस्लाविया है. So they were cooperating with each other. Why they were cooperating with each other? Because they have the same ideology, they have the same thinking, they have the same targets, and therefore this ideology gives strength to these states internationally, and they formed a stronger group. इसी के comparison में there was another bloc which was capitalistic. The capitalistic bloc was headed by America and the countries in the Western Europe. And they, because of their common ideology of capitalism, again form another very strong group. And all the states that were sharing this common ideology were stronger bloc, and they were defending their rights and their interest on the international level. Similarly, आप Islamic countries की मिसाल भी ले सकते हैं कि the Islamic countries are held by Islamic ideology. They are all brothers, they are Islamic community, they are Muslim community, and therefore the Muslims share with each other, they help each other, they support each other. That's why in time of crisis the Muslim countries share the same feelings and they combine together and help each other and support each other. अगर किसी Muslim country पे हमला होता है, so all the Muslims countries, they suffer, they feel as if they are attacked, and they then struggle to get the victim out of that crisis. अफसोस की बात है कि आजकल ज़रा सी मटेरियलिज्म के ज़माने में और कुछ यूरोप और वेस्ट के इन्फ्लुएंस की वजह से the Muslims are a bit weak in this kind of ideology, and that's why the Muslims are now suffering throughout the world. But if the Muslims stick to this ideology, this common Islamic ideology, remember it would be very difficult to control them and to lead them by the vested interest by the West, and they would not be easily disintegrated. Similarly, democratic states which share the same ideology of democracy also help each other. So if there is any military dictatorship, remember the democratic countries criticize it and they help that state to avoid the military adventure and to stop the military intervention in the states. So common ideology, remember, is a source of strength to different states. Germany, Japan and Italy made alliance in World War II due to sharing common ideology, because they were having the same kind of thinking, they have the same targets. What was their common ideology? These countries were sharing military dictatorship. All these three countries have dictatorial governments. Germany में Hitler was the dictator. In Japan, again, it was a military kind of dictatorship. In Italy, we have fascist dictatorship under Mussolini. So because they were sharing the same ideology, and that was dictatorship of the military, therefore these states combined together, form a very strong alliance, and then they were fighting against their enemy, which they termed as those which were trying to decrease their influence. And as a result, World War II happened, in which you know what was the result, that these countries were defeated by the Grand Alliance, which was formed by the Western Europe along with United States and Russia. इसी तरह Israel attack on Masjid al-Aqsa laid the foundation of OIC for protection of Islam. ये भी आपको पता है कि 1969 में जब यहूदियों ने बैतुल अक्सा के कुछ हिस्से को जला दिया, it was set on fire, so all the Muslim countries combined together because Masjid al-Aqsa is a sacred place for them, and therefore all these countries combined together and they formed an organization which was called Organization of Islamic Countries. And this organization is striving for the rights and for the protection of Muslim world. इस organization का पहला नाम Organization of Islamic Conference था, अब इसका नाम तब्दील होके Organization of Islamic Countries रख दिया गया है. However, ज़रूरी नहीं है कि states की common ideology हो so they will cooperate. It may help in forming strong alliances if the states have common ideology. लेकिन ये भी हो सकता है कि बाद वक्त international affairs हैं, international relations हैं, बाद वक्त states की ideologies opposite होके भी they are cooperating with each other, they are helping each other. Why they are helping each other? Although they have different ideologies, they have conflicting ideologies, the reason is they want to serve and protect their national interest, and therefore for protection of some of their larger interest they may cooperate with each other. इसकी example आपको Russia cooperation with US and Britain during World War II में नजर आ रही है. World War II में Britain and communist Russia and similarly communist Russia and America, they were cooperating with each other. हालांकि इनकी ideologies different है, एक में socialism है, दूसरे में capitalism है, लेकिन इसके बावजूद ये countries आपस में एक दूसरे के साथ cooperate कर रहे हैं World War II में. आखिर क्यों कर रहे हैं? What may be the reason? The reason is that because they are involved in a world war, and therefore now they have to protect themselves. They have to protect their territorial integrity. अपने सरहदों की हिफाजत पहले है, आइडियोलॉजी फिर बाद में आएगी. सो पहले अपनी सरहदों की हिफाजत करनी चाहिए, इसको कंट्रोल करना चाहिए, दुश्मन को रोकना चाहिए. Therefore they have diverse or conflicting ideologies, but they cooperate because they have to serve their larger interest, which was the protection of their territory. Therefore these countries come together. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि national interest को बचाने के लिए the states can also cooperate with each other to protect their national interest, although they may have conflicting ideologies. इसी तरह आजकल आप देख रहे हैं कि चाइना और अमेरिका, they are still cooperating with each other, and they have a very high level of trade, and they are cooperating with each other on political sphere as well as economic sphere. They are cooperating so much with each other and they have such a high volume of trade. तो आखिर ये इतने लंबे बड़े लेवल पे तिजारत कर रहे हैं, आखिर इसकी वजह क्या है? Because they have to protect and they have to serve their economic interest. Both are large markets, and as a result now they are not looking for the ideology, They are helping each other because both have economic benefits. Also, they have political interest as well. So, despite having conflicting ideologies, Russia and China are supporting each other. इसके बाद हमारा next element, which is a source of national power, is called military preparedness. फौजी तैयारियां. Remember, military preparedness was considered as the most evident and observable element in national power. जब भी पिछले ज़माने में की बात करते हैं कि उन ज़मानों में नेशनल पावर से मुराद फौजी क़ुव्वत ही थी, फौजी ताकत ही थी. ये जो बाकी एलिमेंट्स हमने डिस्कस किए, they were not regarded as very crucial. Only those states which were military strong, which were military powerful, they were considered as supreme powers. They were considered as states having greater national power. लेकिन अब ये ट्रेंड नहीं रहा, क्योंकि अब नेशनल पावर बाकी बहुत से एलिमेंट से बनता है. कुछ स्टेट्स मिलिटरी स्ट्रांग होके भी, पावरफुल होके भी वो आजकल जंग हार जाते हैं, क्योंकि नेशनल पावर में और भी काफ़ी एलिमेंट्स हैं जो कि कंट्रीब्यूटरी है, जिसको हमने ऑलरेडी स्टेप बाय स्टेप एंड पॉइंट बाय पॉइंट डिस्कस कर लिया है. सो इन मिलिटरी प्रिपेयर्डनेस, which was that always in the national power, the state considered military preparedness as the most observable element, was the most important feature of national power, because the stronger the military power, the greater the national power. And in the military preparedness, what are the important elements or the important components? In these, we include the quality of military training and skills, the quality of weapons and arms, the military leadership. Now, along with this, क्योंकि पिछले ज़माने में the states were focused on the quantity of weapons, जिसके पास जितने ज़्यादा हथियार, so that state would be regarded as powerful. आजकल के ज़माने में you can see that the quality is mentioned with most of the thing, because the quality is also very important. Quantity की अहमियत अब इतनी ज़्यादा नहीं रही है मिलिट्री प्रिपेयर्डनेस में, बल्कि क्वालिटी की अहमियत बढ़ गई है. आप का स्टेट जो हथियार हासिल कर रहा है उसकी क्वालिटी बेहतर हो. It should be sophisticated, it should be automatic, it should be very dangerous to use, and therefore such weapons can give more national power. इसी के साथ जो मिलिट्री स्किल्स हैं और मिलिट्री ट्रेनिंग है उसकी क्वालिटी भी निहायत इम्पॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि वेपन के साथ साथ मिलिट्री स्किल्स, मिलिट्री टैलेंट, मिलिट्री लीडरशिप, these are also very contributory in the power of the military. इसी के साथ जो स्किल्स हैं और जो मिलिट्री कमांडर है उसकी स्किल्स हैं, they are also very important. So remember, in one of the element of national power, military preparedness is again an important element of national power. अब क्वेश्चन ये है कि what contributes in the quality of military training and skill? Military training और skills में क्या आती हैं? तो इनमें काफ़ी चीज़ें आती हैं. It's not one single component, it has many components. It includes physical as well as professional training. It includes updated military warfare techniques. It includes training in the use of knowledge as well as weapons. It also includes good intelligence system. तो ये तमाम चीज़ें मिलिट्री प्रिपेयर्डनेस की पावर में आ रही हैं. क्वांटिटी एंड क्वालिटी के साथ साथ जो क्वालिटी ऑफ ट्रेनिंग है, जो प्रोफेशनल नॉलेज है, इसी के साथ जो वक्त के साथ साथ तब्दीलियाँ आ रही हैं और नए वेपन्स और नई टेक्नोलॉजी वजूद में आ रही है, इनका इस्तेमाल, इनके बारे में जानना, इनके बारे में अपडेट होना, दिस इज़ आल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. और इसी के साथ मिलिट्री आपकी स्ट्रॉन्ग होगी इफ़ देयर इज़ अ स्ट्रॉन्ग नेटवर्क एंड अ गुड नेटवर्क ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस सिस्टम, because through this system you can know about your enemy, you can know about their targets, you can know about their bad intentions, and you can know about the threats which are underlying or which can be faced by your country. So through that system you can easily prepare yourself well in advance and can answer the threat of the enemy. In the quality and quantity of weapons and arms, we include the advancement of technology in making the weapons. Possession of आजकल जो weapons हमारे पास आ रहे हैं उसमें नए किस्म के weapons हैं, जिसमें chemical weapons हैं, जिसमें biological weapons हैं, जिसमें इससे भी खतरनाक nuclear weapons हैं. Remember, the quality of these weapons is also very much accountable for increasing the power of a nation and contributes to national power. Chemical and biological weapons ऐसे weapons हैं कि नज़र भी नहीं आते और अपनी तबाही मचा रहे होते हैं. इसी तरह न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स की तबाहियां तो बहुत होलनाक है. ये तो पूरे शहर को अपने दायरे कार में ले लेता है. इसी तरह एयरक्राफ्ट्स हैं कि हवा से भी बमबारी हो रही हो, शिप्स में भी हो रही हो, पानी के नीचे से भी हो रही हो, ज़मीन के नीचे से भी हो रही हो, और मिसाइल्स भी आ रहे हैं. सो ऑल दीज काइंड ऑफ सोफिस्टिकेटेड वेपन्स is accountable for increasing the military power, and then it contributes to the national power. The military leadership would include the genius and intellect of military leaders, their spirit, their wisdom, their war skills and their techniques of warfare. इसीलिए आर्मी और जो मिलिट्री है वो अपने डिफरेंट ट्रेनर्स को, डिफरेंट जो उनकी स्ट्रेंथ है, जो उनके डिफरेंट सोल्जर्स हैं, so they are always periodically trained and their skills are updated to different kinds of updated trainings which are very necessary to keep oneself updated about the latest invention and discoveries. So you can see a bit of example about the different types of weapons that a country tries to acquire, and another country may have even more sophisticated weapons than that are shown here. The next element which is accountable for national power is natural resources. इसके बारे में तो आप खुद भी जान सकते हैं कि अगर एक कंट्री के पास नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज ज़्यादा हुए, वो कुदरती ज़खायर से मालामाल हुआ, तो ये उस कंट्री के लिए एक गिफ्ट ऑफ नेचर है और वो कंट्री उसको पॉजिटिवली यूज़ करके अपने आप को स्ट्रॉन्ग बना सकती है. सो द नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज प्रोवाइड्स नेशनल पावर इफ़ दे आर एक्सप्लॉइटेड एंड यूटिलाइज्ड. सिर्फ रिसोर्सेज का होना काफ़ी नहीं है. अगर रिसोर्सेज अवेलेबल हैं और इसी के साथ उनको पॉजिटिवली यूज़ भी किया जाए, उनको एक्सप्लॉइट किया जाए, उनको पहले निकाला जाए, उनकी दरियाफ्त की जाए कि कहाँ कहाँ पे वो रिसोर्सेज मौजूद हैं, और फिर वहाँ से निकाल के उसको प्रॉपर्ली यूटिलाइज करें, उसको प्रॉपर्ली फिनिश्ड प्रोडक्ट में कन्वर्ट करें, उससे नई चीज़ें बनाएं, तो उसके इस्तेमाल के बाद ही आपके नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज का फ़ायदा होगा. इफ़ द नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज आर नॉट यूटिलाइज्ड, so they are of no use if they are underground or if they are underwater. Therefore, they should be properly utilized to achieve national power and to get the fruit of these natural resources. Mere possession of resources do not contribute to power, जिस तरह आपको बता चुका हूँ. Natural resources includes, अब natural resources में क्या क्या आती हैं आप खुद भी जान सकते हैं कि इनमें कौन कौन सी चीज़ें आती हैं. आपको कुछ नज़र भी आ रहा है कि इसमें पानी के ज़खायर हैं, क्योंकि पानी एक बहुत ही इम्पॉर्टेंट नेचुरल रिसोर्स है. इसी के साथ मिनरल्स हैं, जो ज़मीन से मादनियात निकलते हैं. इसमें मुख्तलिफ़ किस्म के एलिमेंट्स हो सकते हैं, मुख्तलिफ़ किस्म के कंपाउंड्स हो सकते हैं जो कि हम रोज़मर्रा की ज़िंदगी में इस्तेमाल करते हैं, और इसी के साथ हम उनसे मुख्तलिफ़ चीज़ें बना सकते हैं जो कि हमारी इंडस्ट्रीज़ को और हमारे फैक्ट्रीज़ को और हमारी बाकी ज़िंदगी में उनका इस्तेमाल आता है. इसी के साथ फर्टिलिटी ऑफ सॉइल है. अगर किसी स्टेट की ज़मीन ज़रख़ीज़ है, फर्टाइल है, वहाँ पे मुख्तलिफ़ किस्म की जंगलात पाए जाते हैं, वहाँ पे मुख्तलिफ़ किस्म के पौधे आप लगा सकते हैं. एग्रीकल्चर एंड इरिगेशन ईज़िली हो सकता है. सो रिमेंबर दैट स्टेट कैन ईज़िली अफोर्ड इट्स पीपल, इट्स लार्ज पॉपुलेशन. इट कैन प्रोवाइड फूड and it can also provide food to other countries of the world. Remember, food होगा तो दुनिया रहेगी और ज़िंदगी रहेगी. इसी में फ्लोरा और फाना भी आता है. फ्लोरा means the plant life and the fauna means the animal life. एनिमल्स जो किसी कंट्री में होते हैं, दे आर आल्सो अ सोर्स ऑफ नेचुरल पावर एंड नेशनल पावर. Flora and fauna is also accountable for national power. Although its role would not be very much, but it is one of the contributing element of national power. Besides this, raw materials are useful if they are transformed into finished products. Otherwise, they would be of no use. अगर किसी कंट्री के पास रिसोर्सेज मौजूद हैं लेकिन वो उनसे फिनिश प्रोडक्ट्स नहीं बना सकता, उनके पास खाम माल मौजूद है, खाम ज़खायर हैं, लेकिन उनसे वो इंडस्ट्रीज़ उनकी नहीं चल सकती या वहाँ पे इंडस्ट्रीज़ नहीं है, तो ये जो खाम माल है इसका इतना फ़ायदा उस मुल्क को नहीं होगा, क्योंकि जब वो इसको सेल करेगा, इसको वो एक्सपोर्ट करेगा तो इसकी कीमत कम होगी. फिर वो कंट्रीज़ जहाँ पे इनकी इंडस्ट्रीज़ मौजूद हों, वो इन्हीं खाम माल को लेके उनसे नई चीज़ें बनाएंगे, उनसे प्रोडक्ट्स बनाएंगे, उनसे मुख्तलिफ़ किस्म के हथियार बनाएंगे, उनसे मुख्तलिफ़ किस्म की मशीन्स बनाएंगे, और जब वो उसके बाद उसको एक्सपोर्ट करेंगे वो कंट्रीज़, तो यहाँ पे फिर आपने अपनी ही उसी खाम माल को लेना है जो कि अब एक प्रोडक्ट की शक्ल इख्तियार कर चुका है, लेकिन इस वक्त उसकी कीमत बहुत ज़्यादा होगी. तो आपने कम पैसे ले के आखिर में ज़्यादा पैसे दे के अपने ही प्रोडक्ट को वापस ले लिया, which is not helpful for the country, which is not something beneficial for the country. ये उस वक्त पॉसिबल है जब आप उसी रॉ मटेरियल के लिए अपने ही मुल्क में इंडस्ट्रीज बनाएं, उनके लिए फैक्ट्रीज बनाएं और अपने रॉ मटेरियल के ऊपर मेहनत करके उसको फिनिश प्रोडक्ट का रूप दें. then these resources would be helpful. Otherwise, these resources would not be very much helpful. In today's world, some resources have become very very important, क्योंकि ये जो resources हैं उनका इस्तेमाल इस कदर बढ़ चुका है और इनका इस्तेमाल हमें बहुत सी चीज़ों के लिए चाहिए, इसीलिए some resources are considered as very very important in today's world, and countries which possess them are at a very advantageous position and they are earning a lot of foreign exchange from these products. इनमें कौन कौन से प्रोडक्ट्स आते हैं? इनमें ऑयल है, इसमें नेचुरल गैस है, इसमें कोल है, इसमें यूरेनियम है, क्योंकि ये जो मादनियात हैं they are used for producing energy. And remember, most of our devices, most of our industry and factories, they are using energy, they require energy, and therefore energy is very important for the progress of a country. So these resources are very much important in today's world, and therefore there is a very strong demand for these resources, and countries which possess them are really very rich country. In this, minerals again there are some which are always important. इनकी अहमियत हमेशा वक्तों में रही है, हमेशा लोगों ने इसको चाहा है, लोगों ने इसको पसंद किया है. इसमें गोल्ड है, सिल्वर है, आयरन है, कॉपर, gemstones, and the most important, the food. These are some of the resources which a country is always in need of, always try, because again they are used in industry to make other things and to help in making infrastructure. In the next image, you can see the different types of natural resources that may be found on the earth, and you can easily see their quantity as well. Countries with self-sufficiency in food and grains are powerful during wars. USA and SU, Soviet Union, during World War I, and Germany struggled hard for food during World War I. What does this mean? This means that because natural resources and food and the grains, they are very important, तो इनकी अहमियत उस वक्त बढ़ जाती है जब एक मुल्क जंग के उसमें होता है, माहौल में होता है, when the country is in a state of war, हालत जंग में होता है, तो इस वक्त इन रिसोर्सेज की काफ़ी ज़्यादा अहमियत होती है, क्योंकि अगर एक मुल्क अपनी आर्मी को, अपने लोगों को फूड प्रोवाइड नहीं कर सकता, जंग काफ़ी ख़तरनाक होती है, एक्सपोर्ट इंपोर्ट काफ़ी शटर हो जाती हैं, उनको काफ़ी नुकसान पहुंच जाता है। फूड की अहमियत बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ जाती है क्योंकि फूड का ज़िया होता है, लोग काम नहीं कर सकते, खेतों में आप के प्रोडक्ट्स नहीं आ रहे होते हैं, जिसकी वजह से द कंट्री इज़ इन डायर नीड ऑफ दीज काइंड ऑफ मटेरियल्स. So the example is that the USA and Soviet Union, they could easily make their food available for their people and for their army. Therefore, they were easily fighting the World War. But Germany had to struggle hard during World War I because it was struggling for food and the food was not very easily available. तो जिसकी वजह से जो आर्मी थी और जो लोग थे, because they were not getting food, therefore they have to struggle very hard. They have to fight that hard circumstances to sustain their life. So remember, the food is very important during time of crisis. And it is also being said by some of the scholars that the future war would again be on a very important resource, and that is water resources. कि जो मुस्तकबिल की जंगें होंगी वो पानी के ऊपर होंगी, क्योंकि पानी होगा तो ज़िंदगी होगी. And water would be required for different use. It would be required for agriculture, it would be required for drinking and other use that we normally use water in our everyday life. Some other factors of national power are, here we are finished with the national power that I have discussed in this unit, but beside that some books have also mentioned some other powers. I am just referring to the names here for your understanding. तो ये कुछ और भी एलिमेंट्स हैं नेशनल पावर के जिनको आप समझ सकते हैं, जिसमें एफिशिएंसी ऑफ ब्यूरोक्रेसी आता है. किसी स्टेट में जो अफसरान हैं, जो अफसर-ए-शाही है, वो किस अंदाज से गवर्नमेंट को चला रही है, वो कितनी एफिशिएंट है, वो कितनी ट्रेन है, वो कितनी स्किल है, and how good they are in their administration, how much are they serving their people, and how much are they good civil servants. So this quality of bureaucracy and their dedication and their devotion to work is again one of the contributory factor of national power. अगर bureaucracy आपस में लड़े and the bureaucracy fight with other institutions, remember the state would become weak and the country would lose its national power. इसी के साथ एजुकेशन है. एजुकेशन हमने क्वालिटी ऑफ पॉपुलेशन में भी डिस्कस कर लिया था कि अगर क्वालिटी ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन इज गुड, if the people are educated, if the people are trained, then the large population would be very beneficial for the state. Education itself is a power, and this power will again contribute to national power. इसी के साथ इंटेलिजेंस नेटवर्क है जिसको हमने मिलिट्री प्रिपेयर्डनेस में भी डिस्कस कर लिया है. इसी के साथ फॉरेन सपोर्ट है. अगर किसी गवर्नमेंट को बाहर से सपोर्ट मिल रही हो, सो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट फॉरेन सपोर्ट, because of that international support from the international world, a country would also be a powerful country because all the countries would be supporting it, and therefore it would be very difficult to have a venture against that country. So a country with many friends, with many support on the international level is again at a high national power. Dear students, so we have finally came to the end of the elements of national power. उम्मीद है आप नेशनल पावर के एलिमेंट्स को बखूबी जान चुके होंगे. अब उसके बाद वी हैव सम लिमिटेशंस ऑफ नेशनल पावर. नेशनल पावर की कुछ लिमिटेशंस भी हैं. नेशनल पावर के ऊपर कुछ ऐसे एलिमेंट्स हैं जो कि नेशनल पावर को कम कर देते हैं, उसके इन्फ्लुएंस को घटा देते हैं, उसका इन्फ्लुएंस डिक्रीज कर देते हैं. So what are those limitations on national power? What are those factors that decreases the national power of a country? So they are, a state can increase its national power through the component described, जो कि हम ऑलरेडी बयान कर चुके हैं, वो एलिमेंट्स जो कि नेशनल पावर को बढ़ा सकते हैं. However, certain factors limits the national power, जिस तरह मैं इसका जिक्र कर चुका हूँ. आखिर कौन से वो एलिमेंट्स हैं जो कि नेशनल पावर की अहमियत को और उसकी पावर को कम कर देते हैं? क्या आपके पास कोई अंदाजा है? Do you have some guesses? Yes, you may be right. Let's see. One of the factor that limits national power is the balance of power. The second is international morality. ये भी नेशनल पावर को कम कर देती है. इसी के साथ वर्ल्ड पब्लिक ओपिनियन है जो कि नेशनल पावर को कम कर देती है. इसी के साथ डिसआर्मामेंट है और इसी के साथ इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है. आइए अब इन पॉइंट्स को डिटेल से पढ़ते हैं एंड अंडरस्टैंड हाउ दीज पॉइंट्स एंड हाउ दीज फैक्टर्स कैन डिक्रीज द इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ नेशनल पावर. इसमें जो पहला कंसेप्ट मैंने डिस्कस किया इसका नाम है बैलेंस ऑफ पावर. द क्वेश्चन इज व्हाट इज बैलेंस ऑफ पावर. अगर आप इसके ऊपर सोचें तो टर्म है बैलेंस ऑफ पावर, पावर को बैलेंस करना. आखिर क्या है ये बैलेंस ऑफ पावर? इट्स अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग फिनोमेना एंड एन इंटरेस्टिंग टर्म इन इंटरनेशनल रिलेशंस. बाय बैलेंस ऑफ पावर वी मीन a phenomena whereby the power of a nation or a group of nation is balanced by another state or group of state through different mechanism. एक ऐसा फिनोमिना है जिसमें एक स्टेट की पावर को बैलेंस कर दिया जाता है दूसरे स्टेट ने. मतलब एक स्टेट है जो कि पावर एक्वायर कर रहा है, अपनी पावर को इंक्रीज कर रहा है, तो इसके मुकाबले में जो इसका राइवल स्टेट है वो भी इसकी पावर को बैलेंस करने के लिए अपनी पावर को बढ़ाए. सो इन दिस सिचुएशन व्हेन द पावर ऑफ द टू वुड बी इक्वल, सो वी वुड टर्म दिस एज बैलेंस ऑफ पावर, के पावर बैलेंस हो गई है. जिस तरह तराजू के दो पलड़े हैं, अगर एक पलड़े में आप ज्यादा चीज डाल लें तो उसका वजन नीचे चला जाता है, उसकी नेशनल पावर ज्यादा है. अब दूसरे पलड़े में भी आपने पावर्स को डालना है, यहां तक कि जब दोनों इक्वल हो जाएं, सो यू वुड बी हैविंग अ बैलेंस ऑफ पावर लाइक सिचुएशन. सम टाइम ये भी हो जाता है कि एक स्टेट की पावर इतनी ज्यादा है कि जो दूसरा स्टेट है वो उसकी पावर को बैलेंस नहीं कर पा रहा. इस केस में ये स्टेट के पास ये ऑप्शन अवेलेबल है कि इट मेक एन अलायंस विद अनदर स्टेट, सो द टू स्टेट्स कंबाइन टुगेदर make themselves equal to this big power, and again you would be having a balance of power like situation, which means that these two states by making an alliance with each other have finally balanced the power of this state, and again you have a balance of power like situation. क्या आपने देख लिया कि किस तरह दो स्टेट ने अलाई होके इसकी नेशनल पावर को बैलेंस कर दिया है. तो अब ये स्टेट पावरफुल नहीं रहा, इसकी नेशनल पावर को इनके वजह से बैलेंस मिल गया है. सो द बैलेंस ऑफ पावर decreases the influence of this stronger state. That's how the balance of power decrease or limits the power of a state. बैलेंस ऑफ पावर के बारे में और भी इंटरेस्टिंग बातें हैं, जिसमें एक ये भी है कि इफ यू हैव टू चेक पावर, सो द पावर कैन बी चेक्ड विद पावर in order to achieve balance. अगर एक मुल्क अपने आप पावर को इंक्रीज कर रहा है, रिमेंबर दूसरे मुल्क ने पावर को हासिल करने के लिए पावर से ही इसको चेक करना है, क्योंकि पावर कैन ओनली बी चेक्ड विद पावर. पावर कैन नॉट बी चेक्ड विद अनदर एलिमेंट्स बट ओनली पावर बैलेंस पावर. Thus, national power of a state can be limited by the phenomena of balance of power. Now, how would a state balance the power of a state? एक स्टेट के पास काफी स्ट्रॉन्ग नेशनल पावर है, इट्स अ स्ट्रॉन्ग कंट्री, इट हैज अ ग्रेटर नेशनल पावर, एंड देयर आर वीक स्टेट्स. हाउ विल दे मेक देमसेल्व्स इक्वल टू दिस लार्जर स्टेट? थ्रू बैलेंस ऑफ पावर. इसमें ये जो स्टेट है, ये जो स्मॉलर स्टेट है, ये जो लेस पावरफुल स्टेट है, इसके पास कई ऑप्शंस मौजूद हैं. It can make alliance with other states to balance this state. It can also go with another policy if it has the capacity to divide this larger state into two parts. So by dividing this larger state, the power of this country would be divided. इसी के साथ armaments है कि ये जो state है which is less powerful can resolve itself, can make itself fell into a race of armaments. ये इतनी हथियार हासिल कर ले और हथियारों की क्वालिटी इतनी बढ़ा दे कि even being a weak country, it balance the power of this state. And similarly, there is another phenomenon called buffer states. We will discuss these factors later on in our unit called balance of power. But this is some methods by which the national power of a state can be checked by another state to the balance of power phenomena. The second factor is international morality. What is international morality? International morality is that a state, although it will be increasing its power, its national power, but it cannot extend its national power beyond a certain limit because the other states would be showing some concern. A state cannot keep on increasing its national power by all means. कि एक state अपनी power को बढ़ाने के लिए कुछ भी कर रहा हो. It is having a race of armaments. It is having economic development. It is spending too much on its military budgets and increasing its power. अगर एक state ऐसी अपनी power को increase करता रहे तो उसके जो neighboring countries हैं, so they would get suspicious. उनमें शक पैदा हो जाएगा उनके neighbors में, and they would be watching that why this state is increasing its power. So therefore, there is again a phenomena called international morality. The states have to abide by some accepted international norms and principle of morality. क्योंकि एक जो state है उसने एक international दुनिया में रहना है, उन्होंने जो एक international opinion है उसको भी मद्देनजर रखना है, उन्होंने अखलाक के जो दायरे कार हैं, जो international morality है उसको भी देखना है कि क्या लोग ये चाहते भी हैं, क्या लोग इसको अच्छा मानेंगे कि a state keep on increasing its national power. So this is not the fact. The international morality will not like that the national power of a state keep on increasing more than its neighbors. So the international morality has some limits on the national power. So these limits the national power as the rulers and diplomats have to consider them in dealing in international affairs. Some of the international morality principles, वो कुछ कवानीन, कुछ कायदे, कुछ असूल जो कि इंटरनेशनल मोरालिटी में मौजूद हैं कि जो स्टेट्स आपस में एक दूसरे के साथ रह रहे हैं तो उन्होंने किस तरह ज़िंदगी बसर करनी है, किस तरह उन्होंने अपनी अफेयर्स को डील करना है. क्योंकि जब वो इन ज़ाब्तों पे अमल करेंगे तो इन ज़ाब्तों पे अमल करने से नेशनल पावर्स उनकी कम हो जाएगी. वो खुद मुख्तार नहीं है. एक स्टेट अपनी डिस्क्रिशनरी एक्शंस नहीं ले सकता. वो जो भी एक्शन लेगा तो उसने बाकी दुनिया को भी देखना है कि क्या मेरे इस एक्शन से दूसरे जो लोग हैं, जो दूसरे अक़वाम हैं, उनको कोई नुकसान तो नहीं पहुंचेगा, क्या वो उन पे उनका रिएक्शन कैसे होगा. सो द स्टेट हैज़ टू लुक फॉर द रिएक्शन ऑफ other country as well and other people as well. Some of the international morality principle are that a state have to keep promises. एक state जो भी वादे करता है तो उस पे उन्होंने अमल करना है. Fair dealing between the states. उन्होंने दूसरे स्टेट के साथ गद्दारी नहीं करनी है, धोखाधड़ी नहीं करनी है, बल्कि फेयर डीलिंग के साथ काम करना है. जो वादे किए, जो कमिटमेंट्स किए उसकी पासदारी करनी है, उस पे अमल करना है. इट हैज़ टू अबाइड बाय द इंटरनेशनल पैक्ट्स. जो मायदे हो रहे हैं उन पे अमल भी करना है. अ स्टेट हैज़ टू रिस्पेक्ट इंटरनेशनल लॉ. It has to ensure that the international law is obeyed by a state. So can you see that as the state is following these principles of international morality, therefore it cannot exercise its national power throughout the world, because it has to go and it has to follow these rules and these principles. Similarly, a state has to protect its minorities. it has to safeguard human rights in its country, it has to resort to peaceful means of settling disputes, it has to negotiate, it has to involve in diplomacy, and by this the power, the national power cannot be exercised according to one's own will. And similarly, a state has to abide by this international morality good principle, that it has to not involve itself in the internal affair of other states. It has to keep its internal affairs to itself and not to involve in the internal affairs of other states. By this, following rules of international norms, the national power of a state is ultimately restricted or is ultimately limited. The third factor is the world public opinion. The world public opinion also limits national power. वर्ल्ड पब्लिक ओपिनियन से क्या मुराद है? ये दुनिया की राय है, दुनिया के लोग क्या चाहते हैं, वो किस तरह बिलीव करते हैं, वो किस तरह डिमांड करते हैं. सो दिस वुड बी कॉल्ड वर्ल्ड पब्लिक ओपिनियन. एंड द वर्ल्ड पब्लिक ओपिनियन रिमेंबर सेफगार्ड्स द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ ह्यूमैनिटी. अवाम की जो राय है, जो दुनिया के लोगों की राय है, वो इंसानियत की फलाह चाहती है, इंसानियत की बेहतरी चाहती है. सो देयरफॉर if any country is increasing its national power, the world public opinion would be a check on the national power of that element. And therefore, a state cannot exercise its national power throughout the world, because the world public opinion would be checking the power. What are some of the world public opinion? Remember, protects against violation of fundamental rights, threat to world peace, genocide, misuse of power, denial of justice. अगर कोई स्टेट इन कामों में इन्वॉल्व होगा तो द वर्ल्ड पब्लिक ओपिनियन इन कामों से उसको रोकेगा. It unifies all the people around the world to strive for the just cause and to put pressure on their government to struggle for the same. वर्ल्ड पब्लिक ओपिनियन उस स्टेट को कैसे रोकेगा? पहले वो अपने मुल्क में स्ट्राइक करेंगे, अपने मुल्क में प्रोटेस्ट करेंगे, अपने गवर्नमेंट को बताएंगे कि जो दूसरा स्टेट है जो कि काम कर रहा है ये सही नहीं है. एंड थ्रू दैट प्रोटेस्ट एंड थ्रू देयर गवर्नमेंट दे विल पुट अ प्रेशर ऑन द अदर गवर्नमेंट एंड देयरफॉर रिस्ट्रिक्ट इट्स पावर. कुछ मजीद मौजूद हैं पब्लिक ओपिनियन, जिसमें डिसआर्मामेंट है, जिसमें न्यूक्लियर फ्री जोन है, स्ट्रगल अगेंस्ट ड्रग ट्रैफिकिंग है, वॉर अगेंस्ट टेररिज्म है. So these are again some of the areas which would be involving a larger public opinion, and the states could not do against the public wishes. World public opinion on Israel atrocities in Gaza and the use of social media. हमें नजर आ रहा है कि किस तरह Israel, being a very strong country, but when it was involving in human rights violation in Gaza, so the whole world public opinion was against Israel, and Israel has to finally listen to the world public opinion and to stop those brutalities and those atrocities. The fourth is disarmaments. Disarmament again decreases the national power. What is disarmament? It is the effort to reduce the acquisition of weapons and arms. Arms को कम करना, weapons को कम करना, this is called disarmaments. अगर कोई कंट्री डिसआर्म हो, उनसे वेपन्स ले लिए जाएं, उनसे जो भी उनके मिलिट्री बेसिस हैं और जो उनकी फौजों की तादाद है, अगर उसको कम किया जाए, अल्टीमेटली द नेशनल पावर ऑफ दैट कंट्री वुड डिक्रीज. सो डिसआर्मामेंट इज अगेन एलिमेंट विच कैन डिक्रीज नेशनल पावर. डिसआर्मामेंट्स में कुछ जो इवेंट्स हिस्ट्री में हुए हैं उसमें ये शामिल है. उसमें न्यूक्लियर प्रोलिफरेशन ट्रीटी है, comprehensive test ban treaty है, strategic arms limitation talks हैं, strategic arm reduction talks हैं. So these are some of the efforts that were aimed at reducing weapons and therefore also reducing the power of a state. The UN and the International Atomic Agency is also striving hard to make disarmament. जिस तरह इराक की पावर को ख़त्म कर दिया गया या कम कर दिया गया by the UN through its strike against Iraq, and therefore it was disarmed. You can see some of the disarmament efforts in these pictures. International organization also decreases the national power. Organization like League of Nations, like United Nations, because they are striving for, they are working for peace and security, and therefore if any country becomes a threat, remember these kind of organization would intervene and they could even take action against that state. For example, जिस तरह Iraq become a threat to the Gulf areas, to the Gulf states, it attacked Kuwait, then the UN has to intervene और उन्होंने इराक की पावर को ख़त्म किया, उनकी पावर को कम किया through the global efforts. With this, we come to the end of our unit, and before we close, let's have a summary of this unit. In this unit, we discussed what is power, the ability to influence the behavior of others according to one's own will. Then we discussed national power, which is the potential of a state to make other states obey and to make them do what a state like according to its own wishes. The components of national powers were then discussed, which were population, technology, geography, national character and morale, economic development, leadership, diplomacy, ideology, and military preparedness, and natural resources. These were those elements which contribute to the national power, which increase the national power of an element, and we discussed step by step how these different components increase and is responsible for the national power of a state. Then we discussed some of the limitations on national power. Limitation on national power वो अनासिर हैं, वो फैक्टर्स हैं जो कि नेशनल पावर को कम करते हैं. इसमें बैलेंस ऑफ पावर आता है, इसमें इंटरनेशनल मोरालिटी भी शामिल है, वर्ल्ड पब्लिक ओपिनियन है, डिसआर्ममेंट है और इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं. ये वो 5 फैक्टर्स हैं जो कि किसी भी स्टेट की नेशनल पावर को कम करते हैं, उसके इन्फ्लुएंस को ख़त्म कर देते हैं या डिक्रीज़ कर देते हैं. जिस तरह बैलेंस ऑफ पावर है जिसमें एक स्टेट की पावर को बैलेंस कर दिया जाता है, इसी तरह कोई भी स्टेट ने इंटरनेशनल मोरालिटी के जो स्टैंडर्ड्स हैं, जो कायदे हैं, उन पे अमल करना है. इसी तरह कोई भी स्टेट अपनी पावर के बावजूद इट हैज़ टू लुक टू द पब्लिक ओपिनियन, अवामी जो राय है उसका एहतराम करना है और उसी को फॉलो करना है. इसी के साथ डिसआर्ममेंट, किसी कंट्री के वेपन्स में कमी करना, उनसे वेपन्स लेना जिससे भी उस कंट्री की पावर कम हो जाती है, जिस तरह इराक के साथ किया गया. इसी तरह इंटरनेशनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस आर आल्सो अ चेक ऑन द स्टेट्स and it check their power, it decrease their powers. So these were some of the factors which were responsible for decreasing the national power. With this, we have come to the end of this unit. There are some review questions that you can see in this unit as well. Till then, I hope you understand. Allah Hafiz.